Nocturne audio stories. The Man Who Hated Losing. Episode 3.
Her words stayed between them. Not dramatic, not loud, just sharp enough to draw blood. Adrian Vale did not move. He looked at her the way he looked at numbers that refused to align, as if the problem was not the math, as if the problem was the person holding the pen. Alina kept her posture calm, even with her heart testing the edges of her ribs. She had said it on purpose. She had meant every syllable. She had watched him all evening. The way he tried to control the room by controlling himself. The way he used silence like a blade. The way he stepped back just before a moment could become something else. And now, with a single sentence, she had forced him to stand still inside it. He finally spoke. His voice was low. "You like making statements you can't take back." Alina's expression did not change. "I don't say things I don't mean." He held her gaze. His eyes had the polished cold of boardrooms and contracts, but there was heat in them too. Not warmth, heat. "Then mean this," he said. "Explain it." Alina took one slow breath. "You don't chase what you can't control," she said, "and now you've found something you can't control. You don't like it." His jaw tightened, almost invisible. "You think you're that something." Alina tilted her head slightly. "I don't think," she said. "I'm watching." He took a small step closer, not enough to crowd her, enough to remind her who owned the air in this building. "If you're watching," he said, "then you already know how this ends." "Do I?" He let out a breath through his nose, not a laugh, not a sigh, something controlled. "People like you always think you can stand close to the edge," he said, without leaning in. Alina's gaze did not drop. "People like you always think the edge belongs to you." The room sharpened, not because they moved, because they stopped pretending it was only about business. Adrian turned away first, not because he was intimidated, because he was precise. He walked back toward the desk, the light catching the line of his rolled sleeves. "Tomorrow morning," he said, "I have a board call." Alina did not respond immediately. She let him reveal what he wanted to reveal. He opened a drawer and pulled out a slim folder. He set it on the desk. He did not slide it to her yet. He simply rested his hand on top of it, like a hand on the throat of something still alive. "They're preparing a vote," he said. "Private, early, clean." Alina's stomach tightened. "To remove you." He gave a single nod. "I'm not supposed to know." She took a step forward. "How long have you known?" "Long enough." That answer was a locked door. Alina looked at the folder, then she looked at him. "Is that why you called me here tonight?" Adrian's gaze lingered on her face. "I called you here because I don't like the feeling of being watched," he said. "And you watch like you're not afraid of what you'll find." He slid the folder across the desk. Alina took it. She opened it. Inside were names, numbers, meeting timestamps, emails summarized in clean corporate language that tried to pretend they weren't betrayal. Alina scanned quickly. She did not need long. "This is coordinated," she said. "Yes." "Who's leading it?" Adrian's eyes moved to the window. The city was a field of lights, beautiful from above, ugly up close. "A man named Grant Holloway," he said. Alina's fingers stilled. Not because she recognized the name, because she recognized the type. Private equity. "Old money," Adrian answered. "Old grudges." Alina closed the folder halfway. "What does he want?" Adrian turned back to her. "My seat," he said. "My company. My name." That last one landed differently. Alina heard what he didn't say, that this wasn't only business. It was personal. She set the folder down carefully. "Why tell me now?" she asked. Adrian stepped closer again. His voice lowered, not for effect. "Because if you're going to stand in my space," he said, "I need to know whether you're here to help or to watch me fall." Alina stared at him. She could have lied, she could have softened it, but that wasn't her. "I don't enjoy watching people fall," she said. "I enjoy knowing why they do." Adrian's gaze sharpened. "And why do men like me fall, Alina?" She swallowed once. "Not fear. Focus. Because you think control is the same as safety," she said. "Because you mistake calm for strength. Because no one around you tells you the truth." Adrian's mouth curved slightly. It was almost a smile, almost. "And you will?" he asked. Alina's voice was steady. "Yes." He watched her like he was deciding if that was a gift or a threat. "Then tell me the truth," he said. Alina's eyes moved to his hands. Those hands had built a life that looked perfect from the outside. And those hands looked like they had never been allowed to tremble. She raised her gaze again. "You're not afraid of losing the company," she said quietly. Adrian did not interrupt her, so she continued. "You're afraid of losing what the company proves, that you were worth something." The silence that followed did not feel like a tactic. It felt like the air had changed its mind about supporting them. Adrian's throat moved once. He spoke carefully. "You talk like you've been close to men like me before." Alina's lips pressed together. "I've been close to power," she said. "I learned early that power is loud when it's empty." His gaze held hers. "And what about you?" he asked. "What did you learn early?" Alina did not answer right away, because the answer was dangerous, because it would give him something real. And real things were the only things men like Adrian could break. "I learned," she said finally, "that if you want to survive around men who like control, you never beg." Adrian's eyes darkened slightly. "Who taught you that?" Alina's voice stayed calm. "Someone I don't speak to anymore." Adrian took one more step closer. Now she could feel his presence like heat through glass. "Did he hurt you?" he asked. It was the wrong question because it was too personal, because she heard something in it that wasn't strategy, possessiveness. Alina's eyes narrowed. "You don't get to ask me that," she said softly. Adrian's expression didn't change, but his voice did. "You're right," he said. "I don't." He turned away again, then he reached for his phone. He spoke into it, short and clean. "Cancel my last meeting," he said. "No calls for the rest of the night." He ended the message. He set the phone down. Alina watched him. "What are you doing?" she asked. Adrian looked at her like the answer should have been obvious. "I'm removing the noise," he said, "so I can hear you." Alina felt her pulse tight. That was not a business move. That was a decision. "You said tomorrow is a board call," she said, trying to pull it back to safe ground. Adrian's gaze stayed on her. "Tomorrow," he said, "I will be the man they think they can remove." Alina's throat went dry. "And tonight?" she asked. Adrian's voice lowered. "Tonight I need to know," he said, "if you're the kind of woman who folds when the room becomes private." Alina held her ground. "I don't fold," she said. "I decide." Something flickered across his face, approval. Then he moved toward the door. He opened it. He did not gesture dramatically. He simply held it like the decision was hers, like he had all the time in the world to watch her choose. Alina looked at him, then at the open hallway beyond, then back at him. "Where are we going?" she asked. Adrian's voice was calm. "Up," he said. Alina's eyes stayed on his. "To your penthouse," she guessed. He did not deny it. Alina stepped forward, not because she was pulled, because she refused to be pushed by fear. The hallway outside was dim and quiet, too quiet for a building this expensive. Adrian didn't touch her as they walked. That restraint felt more intimate than a hand on her back. They stopped in front of the private elevator. He pressed the button. Alina's reflection appeared in the polished metal. Her face looked calm. Her eyes looked like someone about to step into a game where the rules were written in silence. The elevator chimed. The doors slid open. Alina stepped inside first. Adrian followed. The doors closed. The world narrowed into glass and steel. His presence filled the space. Her composure filled it back. The elevator began to rise. Alina watched the numbers climb. Adrian watched her. "You're thinking," he said. Alina didn't look at him. "I always think," she replied. Adrian's voice softened. "Not kind, honest." "Tell me something," he said. Alina's gaze shifted to him slowly. "What?" "When you walked into my office tonight," he said, "did you already know you would say yes to coming up here?" Alina held his gaze. "No," she said. "I decided when you told me about the vote." Adrian's eyes narrowed slightly. "Why then?" Alina's voice went quiet. "Because men who are about to lose something important," she said, "show who they really are." Adrian's mouth curved again. Still not a smile, something darker. "And what do you think I really am?" he asked. Alina's heart pressed once against her ribs. She chose her words carefully. "A man who has never been allowed to be ordinary," she said. "A man who mistakes surrender for weakness. A man who is about to learn the difference." The elevator rose higher. The air felt thicker. Adrian's gaze dropped to her mouth for the briefest second. Then he looked back into her eyes. "If you're so certain," he said, "then set the terms." Alina's stomach tightened. "Terms," she repeated. Adrian nodded once. "If this is a test," he said, "then tell me what passing looks like." Alina breathed in slowly. She looked at the rising numbers again, then back at him. "Honesty," she said. "No performances," she added. "No winning just because you want to." Adrian's voice came out lower. "And if I refuse?" Alina's gaze stayed steady. "Then I walk away," she said. The elevator continued to rise. The number display changed again. Adrian's eyes stayed locked on hers. "You think you can walk away from me?" he said quietly. Alina's voice was softer now. "I know I can," she said. Adrian's breath shifted. He stepped closer inside the elevator, not touching, not yet, but close enough that the heat between them felt like a choice. The elevator slowed. The final floor approached. Adrian's voice dropped into something intimate and dangerous. "Tell me your terms," he said, "before these doors open."
Episode 4 arrives tomorrow.